Hey dude, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician, and today I've got an amazing offer I wanted to share with you. This isn't a sponsored post or anything. I just found out that Plugin Boutique is going to be giving away 3 free plugins, or they're actually giving away 3 free plugins right now. Um, and these are awesome plugins. I'm going to go over and tell you what these plugins are. Uh, they're also giving away some free samples, and then I'm going to show you how you can use these plugins in your song to make them sound so much better. We've basically got a few different compression plugins that do really unique and powerful things, and then a vocal plugin, which is going to really help you get just much fuller, richer vocals. I'm going to give you some demos of that and show you how to use them to the best of their ability. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a really cool trick to use one of these plugins to just completely glue your mix together. Let's look right here. Basically, I'll put a link down below to this page, but on Plugin Boutique, you can go get this bundle here. It's called the Stay Inspired Collection, and in order to get it for free, you have to use the coupon code STAYIN when you check out. So if you don't do that, you're going to be forced to pay for it, but if you do it, you're fine. So what's included? Well, the Pulsar Audio Smash is a super cool version of the 1176, which is a classic compressor famous for its all buttons in mode. And this just simulates the all buttons in, which is just this crazy combination of saturation and compression that is really, really good on drums, on bass. It can be used on a lot of different things. And so this has a really simple interface, which we'll get into in a minute once we get to the song. But this is a really powerful tool. The next one here is it's Baby Audio's I Heart New York, which is similarly kind of a smashing compression tool. This one lets you quickly set up parallel compression in the New York style of compression, which is just a really cool parallel processing technique that is a combination of smashing a signal with compression, distorting it a bit, doing a little bit of gating, a little bit of filtering, and a little EQ. And this is just a super powerful 3-button plugin that lets you pump up your mixes. Great on, again, drums, bass, vocals, a lot of stuff. Finally, you have the WA Productions Vocal Splitter, which is basically creates some duplicates of your voice or of a vocal track. It can be used on other stuff, but it basically thickens them up by creating copies and doing a little bit of pitch shifting and time modulation and drive, and you'll hear just how much this can add with the touch of a few buttons. None of these are Swiss Army knife plugins, but they do what they do really well, and I'm a big fan of things that just work well. So then you can just click on the first one you want. This package also comes with access to about 1 gigabyte of samples and a free course on using compression. So go click that link. And now let's cue the intro. And then what we'll do is show you how to use them. All right. Okay, welcome back. So here we have a song that's just sort of a, really a pretty standard 80s, 90s soul house track. Nothing crazy going on here. It's not fully mixed, but I have put on a few instances of the plugins. What I'm going to do is show you how the individual instruments sound with and without the plugins, and also show you some tips on how to use those plugins, including at the end the most powerful tip there is. I'll also just note that these are some vocal samples from Loop Masters that you'll be able to get for free if you sign up. So again, go click that link. And now I'll show you what these plugins do, how to use them, and how to use these techniques, especially parallel compression in your mixes. But before I go any farther, do you use parallel compression? What are your thoughts on it? I have used it to some extent, and sometimes I have really good results, and sometimes I squash a mix. So if you have any tips on using parallel compression well, I'd really appreciate it if you could just leave it in the comments. If you've got any big questions about it, also leave them in the comments. Okay, so let's start out with the drums here. Here I've got a Baby Audio I Heart New York compressor on the drums, which, like I said, does a combination of intense compression, a little EQ, some filtering, some gating, and maybe some distortion, but it's all just sort of controlled automatically with this spank knob. Then there is this wet-dry knob here. Well, it's not a wet-dry knob. You can get into a lot of trouble thinking it's a wet-dry knob. Instead, it's additive. So all the way down is just the dry signal. Sorry, this is the bass. Probably what I should do first, though, is let you hear the whole thing, just so you get. Alright, so we've got the bass here. This is with no processing, and now we're going to add in on top the spanked signal. And so, as you mix it in, you're probably going to need to turn down the output level. I've already got it pretty much matched, but you're going to want the input and the output to be more or less the same, generally speaking. Otherwise, what you're hearing isn't the processing, or you're hearing the processing, but you're also getting fooled just by the fact that it's louder, which always sounds better. And so if we super spank it, I'll just turn up the you just feel it's a little fatter, a little rounder. Let's turn the output down. Alright, now let's listen to it. You hear just how much fatter and rounder it gets? Hopefully I have headphones on. It's also tighter, and you can actually feel that the gating kind of gives it a little more click and pump and rhythm. Alright, so we've got a little more sizzle. And so that's basically real simple 3-button plugin, or if you just want the spank signal, you can hit solo, aka the process signal. Let's hear it in a mix. It just cuts through a little bit more. Now to the drums, I put the 1176 Smasher. So we'll solo it out. Listen to the kick and snare. Just fuller, more glued together. So this again has really simple controls. It's just by default always set to all buttons in. So it just smashes it, which is basically a combination of extreme compression and saturation. And there's different saturation amounts modeled on both the input and the output. And then you have the ability to bypass the plugin and a wet-dry knob here. This is not an additive wet-dry knob. This is a blend. So if you go all the way wet, you're not going to ruin anything here. This is just what it sounds. Smashed. And you feel how it just spanks a little bit more? And it breathes. The low end I feel is a little tighter, but it also so I think that's really just a pleasant sound there. I think I might have boosted the bass just a little too much. And now for the vocals, we've got this vocal splitter here. You just hear how there's more. These duplicates here are just doing so much. I think this is also an additive mix knob. Yeah. So this is like almost playing at the same time. It's almost like a chorusing effect, but I think it does some pitch thing as well. But moderate volumes, at least for this, works. And then you've got the drive knot. And you can also mute the underlying source and just hear what's going on the sides. And a low pass and a high pass filter. Let's bring the mix back down. So again, that's just another fantastic, like, not quite one button plugin, but it does what it needs to do, and it does it so well. So now let's just, I want to show you this really big, I think where you'll see a ton of value from these plugins, and that is actually just using the New York style compression on everything. This is a real classic trick, especially like disco, things like that. So basically, I have routed every instrument to what I've called the parallel bus, or parallel B. You can see it says it there, and there to change the routing, or to create a new bus in Reason, you can right-click on any channel and say Route to, and then you can create a new output bus. But then once you actually have the bus created, you can just choose which bus it goes to. And so then on this parallel bus, what I've done is put a iHeart New York compressor on and blended it in a little bit. And so what you'll hear again is it's just so much more, not so much more, but 10%, 15% more punchy, more, the low end just hits a little harder, which is what you want for this type of music. And it just, even though it's not actually louder, it feels louder. So let's take a listen. And glue together. Let's see, just very similar. But pay attention to the low end especially. I mean sort of the frequency, like on the high end, the way it just breathes more. So I'm going to mix it in. Now it's getting louder. Over compressed. And this is what the pure signal sounds like. The spank signal. See how tight that is? And how like sharp the transients are there? So. But it does different things at different volumes. I'm liking it right around in this range for this song. Pretty much match the volume using these. But what you notice is it stays at a consistent volume a little better thanks to this compression. So there you have it. I hope this video showed you some of the cool uses of these three tools, gave you a quick overview of how to use them, and inspired you to go not only start making music, but to go download them by clicking on that link down below. Again, this isn't a sponsored post or anything. That is an affiliate link, meaning I would get a commission if you purchase something through that link. But since they're free, just me sharing something that I hope is really helpful for you. And if you've been using parallel compression, I want to know what your tips and tricks are. What instruments you like to put it on, what settings you use. And if you've got any questions, of course, just leave them below. Thanks so much.